Welcome, dear listeners. I am glad you joined me today. And today we're going to talk about love. I suppose, love is in the air. I don't know. It's not Valentine's weekend or anything. It's June, July, summer of 2023. But I wanted to talk about SEO love, why Google adores WordPress. I mean, it's not a new love. I mean, it's been a love that's been around for a long time. It hasn't been a stated love. It's not like Google's out there saying, oh, I love you, WordPress. But every data point that I've looked at over the last 15 years of working on WordPress and working with Google algorithms and stuff like that on rankings and things like that, all I can tell you is Google definitely adores WordPress. It's a 15, 16-year relationship. They're well into, it's going to continue well into the future. And as a CMS, as WordPress has evolved from being just a blogging platform to now a full-scale CMS, there's certain things that are built into WordPress that is a distinct advantage when it comes to SEO. And I did a quick test on my own. I did a search for dentist near me, veterinary clinic near me, criminal lawyers near me. And I looked at the search results. I looked at the CMSs of the websites of those service providers that did show up. And you'd be surprised at the results. You're going to have to listen to the podcast to listen to those results. I'm not going to share that with you right now, but it's very interesting information. Again, it's just my test. It's not a full study or anything like that, but there's distinct evidence available that Google definitely does adore WordPress. And there's a reason why that's the case. So I'm going to talk about that in this episode. Tune in and let's discuss SEO love, why Google adores WordPress. Welcome to the latest episode of Corner Your Market. I'm your host, Silas Kimide. In this podcast, I talk about all things digital marketing, from website design and development to SEO and PPC, as well as paid advertising, email marketing, social media, and anything in between. If you're a small business owner, a marketing manager in a company, or an entrepreneur, this podcast is for you. So tune in every Thursday at 10 a.m. You'll gain some practical insights, new strategies, tactics, and tools that will help you grow your business. To subscribe, go to corneryourmarketpodcast.com and select the podcast app of your choice. Then you can hit subscribe within those apps. That again is corneryourmarketpodcast.com. Also, don't forget to like and share our individual episodes. You can also leave a review in the app once you've listened to one of our episodes. This episode is all about love. I suppose I should not use love in the strongest form, but maybe adoration. The title is SEO Love, Why Google Adores WordPress. Now, Google is not officially on record saying that they love WordPress, but historically, I've been using WordPress for, 15 years? Since 2007. So how much is that? Anyway, long time. And I've been doing optimizations on Google since 2004. So a long time. And in that time period, I can tell you that I have intuitively and instinctively seen WordPress sites do much better on SEO than other sites. So I kind of put that to the test. I did a search just this morning, actually, right before recording this podcast, so it was as timely as possible. I searched for dentist near me, veterinary clinics near me, and criminal lawyers near me. Very distinct industries. And when I did those searches, my goal was to find out, obviously when you do those searches, a lot of the listings are actually aggregators and review sites like Yelp. So you'll find aggregators that are pulling together different providers, and then those sites rank really high. Now, Google's done a pretty decent job of trying to filter those out, but in the top 10, I would say 2 or 3 are taken up by those and things like that. So what I did is I looked at the ones that were like specifically the direct service providers. So when I did the search for dentist near me, I was looking for the actual dentist website, not an aggregator, not like a dentist network provider, but like an actual dentist website. And I looked at the top 5 obviously, and it all varied basically, but the dentist near me, I think 6 or 7 of the top were dentist providers. And so I just looked at the top 5. And when I looked at the top 5 and I looked at their CMS, I have a plugin on on Chrome that allows me to see the backend technology. And so I looked at the CMS, and number one dentist site was a WordPress site. Number two was WordPress. Number three was Adobe Experience Manager. Number four was WordPress. Number five was WordPress. So 4 out of the 5 organically listed dental websites were built on WordPress, right? So 80%. So, and then I went and did a veterinary clinic near me. This one was a little bit different. There was a lot of aggregators on this one. So I just looked at the, 5 organic listings and I just ranked them. So 1 and 2 were not WordPress. They were HSTS. Not exactly sure what that is, but I need to look into that a little bit. But that might just be hidden. I think it's a hidden technology. They're not telling you who they are. And then number 3 was WordPress. Number 4 was WordPress, and number 5 was WordPress. So 3 out of 5 in the top 10 were built on WordPress. So what? That's about 60%, right? And then I did the same thing on criminal lawyers near me. And there was a lot of aggregators and review sites and all kinds of stuff on this one. And so in the top 10, I think there were 3 law providers, like actual law firms, and 2 out of the 3 were built on WordPress. So I know it's not a thorough study, but it's a back of the envelope type calculation as to, looking at which CMSs are ranking and things like that. So at least for these 3 types of businesses, I found that WordPress sites were ranking really well. So my topic for today is I'm going to dive into why does Google love WordPress when it comes to SEO? Now, again, on record, they don't say they love Google WordPress, but you can, it's kind of like puppy love or junior high love. You know what I mean? I don't know. Maybe that's not a good analogy. And then what I also wanted to do was which other CMSs seem to fare well, compared to, if you're not on WordPress, you're going to panic, right? Well, you shouldn't. Listen to the whole podcast, please. I'll tell you why you shouldn't panic. And then the last one is, what should you do if you don't use WordPress? Again, listen through the whole podcast and I'll help you understand all these things. So let's get started then. So why does Google love WordPress? Or let's say, why does Google adore WordPress? Like puppy love, like from a side of the room, because Google can't say it loves anything, at least a CMS. Number one reason, I actually identified 3 main reasons. I mean, there's a lot more if you really dig into them, but the 3 main reasons, number one is SEO-friendly architecture. Now, I'm going to dive into this a little bit. So WordPress has a clean and well-structured code base, which Google loves because it can easily crawl it and it can easily understand it. And it basically follows best practices for SEO. WordPress follows best practices for SEO from the core all the way to everything. For example, generating clean URLs, providing customizable meta tags, allowing easy optimizations of headings, alt tags, and the way you organize your content. Very good for SEO, right? So basically, a really good SEO-friendly architecture means that everything is built around being able to optimize your site, right? A lot of the closed-end systems, they may not have that. They may not allow users to do certain things. I mean, they cannot accommodate everybody, right? And they make certain choices when they're building their systems, and they don't allow you to do the same level of optimizations as you would like to be able to do. Back in the day, I really used to love a tool like Dreamweaver or something like that, because you could really go back in and you could really just put stuff in the HTML directly, and it was so easy to do, and you could get it to rank really well, and things like that. And of all the CMSs I've worked on over the years, WordPress is the one that comes closest to that kind of hands-on, under the hood type stuff, right? I want to dive into a little bit about what it means to be SEO-friendly architecture. So I created an example of a website called Bollywood Mania. There was a Bollywood festival near my house not too long ago, so Bollywood was top of mind. So Bollywood Mania. Let's say you're creating a website called Bollywood Mania, and it's going to be a movie review site. And let's say you've made a movie. So for instance, let's start from the beginning, right? So clean and semantic code for a site like that means that WordPress, when you build that website, will generate clean HTML markup, making sure that the code is well structured and that it follows semantic conventions. For example, using HTML tags for headings, H1, H2, paragraphs, lists, and other content elements are all clean. So that when you're writing, let's say you're creating a blog post on your Bollywood Mania movie website, then you can use the right tags indicating what is a title, what is a subtitle, what is a list, and all that kind of stuff, right? So all that stuff is very easy to do in WordPress. And then there's also customizable permalinks. I know some other people are starting to do this as well, but I don't work in other systems as much as I do in WordPress, and I know how easy it is to do permalinks. Permalinks are the name of the URL after the slash, after your domain. So if you're like bollywoodmania.com is your website, /movie-review / whatever the name of your movie is, you can create those very, very, you program that permanent link structure, and every time you post a blog post or post content, it follows that convention. So let's say you're making, I'm not trying to make light of any tragedy, but Titanic 2, Billionaire Love is a Bollywood movie, and you just saw it and you're like, okay, you know what? I'm going to write a review on this. In that case, you would make your permalink something like bollywoodmania.com /movie-review /Titanic-2-billionaire-love, right? So notice something about this URL is that it is descriptive. It allows you to put all your keywords in the URL, and it is just beneficial for SEO, right? So that's just one example of what sets WordPress apart. The other thing is title tags and meta descriptions. I mean, usually you want to use a plugin for this kind of stuff, but just the way in which you can easily add title tags, easily change your meta descriptions, it's just very easy. Some of the other platforms allow that nowadays, but let's face it, they copied it from WordPress. Or maybe they didn't, but I'm going to say they did. But anyway, image optimization is the other one. Compressing images, cache tools, so that you can compress your images. You can add alternative text. There's lots of features there, right? So here's the big one, XML sitemaps. WordPress can allow you to add plugins that generates XML sitemaps. XML sitemaps is basically a map that the spider gets, the crawling spider gets. When it arrives at your website, instead of going out and trying to figure out what's all on this website, the XML sitemap provides a basic map to say, okay, this is what's on the website. Here's the URL structure. Here's all the different pages. Here's what they mean and all that kind of stuff. And so your spider has a map. Who doesn't love a map? A spider loves a map. So that's why that is important. So that's the SEO, architecture friendly, SEO friendly architecture that I'm talking about, that is really inherently built into WordPress. Point number 2 is the rich plugin ecosystem. And this is huge. I mean, you can basically install a free or a paid version of Yoast SEO, all-in-one SEO pack, or Rank Math, very, very good, very, very top of the line SEO plugins that first of all, they save you time. And then the second of all is they do all kinds of things that are very difficult to do or in other systems, right? So they will do on-page SEO analysis. They will, let's say you have a page and you enter in the keyword that you want that page to rank for. It'll run an SEO analysis right there before you publish your post across all kinds of parameters. We're not just talking about title tags and meta descriptions and headings. They'll also analyze content length, keyword usage, readability. That's huge. Readability is things like, sentence length, because you don't want rambling on sentence, use of transition words. That's huge, man. I mean, Google says that you want to produce your content not just for the search spider, but also for the user, right? So if you can run a test on readability, that is huge, and that plays a role in your ranking. And it's done right on the fly, man. It's pretty easy. You're gonna love it if you haven't already used it. So on-page SEO analysis, It also does automatic XML sitemap generation. So every time you publish a new piece of content, your XML sitemap is updated. And then if you have Google Search Console, you have periodic polls from the Google Search Console for your XML sitemap, then that gets updated and submitted to Google. Really cool. And then control over your title tags and meta descriptions, that's kind of a given. So a lot of these plugins already do that. It gives you keyword enticing descriptions, compelling calls to action. It analyzes all of that. And then the readability, again, I talked about that a little bit. Sentence length, paragraph length, subheadings, transition words. They provide insights and suggestions to enhancing the readability and all that kind of stuff. Another big one is schema markup and rich snippets. Some SEO plugins offer features to implement schema markup and rich snippets. Schema markups help search engine understand the context and meaning of content on a web page, potentially leading to enhanced search results, and rich snippets like star ratings, reviews, and other structured data. For example, best example of this is, let's say you have a FAQ page, right? And you have all these questions that you're answering on your FAQ. If you use the FAQ schema markup language, then Google automatically knows that's an FAQ question, page, and it'll pull those question answers into their results if it feels like it's going to help the user. So automatically done through these plugins, man. I don't know how you can beat that. And then you got the technical SEO checks that these plugins do, and that's a huge thing as well. So I'm not going to get into that, but there's a lot. You could have it check for broken links. You could have it check for duplicate content. I mean, some of these features are paid features. They're not all free features, but huge, right? Because you might have, let's say you created, a bunch of events. Let's say you do seminars on your website or something like that, and you've got seminar. You do 14 seminars a year, and then all of a sudden you got, 13 that are outdated or 12 that have been deleted, but the URLs are still floating out there. You need to know that kind of stuff, because Google factors those in, because a site with a lot of 404 errors is not a good site. And so those are the kinds of checks that you can do. So that was actually reason number 2, the rich plugin ecosystem that is available in Google is a big factor in making sure that your site can rank very well. And then the third reason why Google adores WordPress, notice I didn't use the word loves, why it adores WordPress is the active community and regular updates, right? WordPress has a large and active community. I don't remember the last number. The number 11% comes to mind, but I know it's a lot higher than that, because that 11% is from I want to say almost 8-9 years ago. But a huge number of websites on the internet run on WordPress. So there's a huge community, global community. In fact, there are WordPress camps in Nepal, my home country. Can you believe that? Even in Nepal, there are WordPress WordCamps, right? So that's huge. It's penetrated every website. So there's a huge active community. An active community means that you have a large and active community of developers, designers, SEO professionals, right? Sorry, a huge explosion just happened nearby, so I'm kind of rattled a little bit, not exactly sure what happened. And this community consistently contributes to improving the platform's functionality, and it stays up to date with SEO best practices. So this is one of the things that I like about WordPress is the open source nature of the whole thing, because the vigilant community means that they're releasing, security updates, performance improvements, SEO related features that we are all benefiting from right away. So the big community keeps everything updated, and it also gives confidence to Google that this is not a system that is maybe being blindsided or slowing down or something like that, right? So that's a huge factor as well. Now, so that's the first question, right? So I think when I was talking about what am I talking about today, I said, why does Google love WordPress when it comes to SEO? So I gave you the reasons on why. So now let me talk a little bit about what other CMSs seem to do well with SEO as well. And this one's a sleeper, Joomla. I have done SEO on Joomla sites, and in fact, in my career, the best for any single site that I've ever done SEO on has been a Joomla site. Granted, Joomla is a little bit archaic, a little bit hard, a little bit difficult. It's not as widely used. There's not a lot of documentation. Things can get a little bit crazy sometimes. But man, Joomla is, from an SEO friendly standpoint, extremely SEO friendly. And like I said, one of the best sites that I've ever optimized has been a Joomla site, and by far. So in fact, anyway, so the other one is Drupal. I have never used Drupal, but when I was researching this, a lot of active fans about Drupal, talking about the value of Drupal in SEO and things like that. Again, this list is not comprehensive by any means. I mean, I was just trying to see what other alternatives there are to WordPress. That would be, if I was going to go out there and build something else, build on something else other than WordPress, what would I use? And that's what this list is. So Joomla would be one. Drupal would be the second one, just based on the feedback and everything that I've seen on the communities and different boards that I checked. Now, if I was building an e-commerce site, I would probably consider Magento. I did do something on Magento many years ago, but nothing that I remember right now. So Magento is another one that ranks very well. And then the more generic, closed systems, as I like to call them, Wix comes in very high. Although I will be honest with you, 5 or 6 years ago, I was optimizing 3 or 4 Wix sites, and it was very challenging to get them to rank at the same level as WordPress sites. But maybe they've done, they've improved. They're doing better, things like that. Weebly is another one as well. Weebly definitely got some good rankings for SEO as well. So those are just a few. I'm not saying that's a comprehensive list, but if you are looking at systems besides or outside of WordPress, I would consider those 5 alternatives. So what should you do if you don't use WordPress and you're not on that list that I just gave you? The first thing to do is to not panic. The world is not coming to an end. SEO is more than just CMS, and also just having WordPress doesn't guarantee you good rankings either. So the first thing for you to do, if you are not on WordPress and you're not on any of the other engines that I mentioned, the content management systems that I mentioned, don't panic. First of all, focus on quality content. It always is about quality content. And what I mean by that is it's got to be geared towards your user. It's got to be relevant. It's got to have the right keywords. It's got to have focus. It kind of boils down to focus and relevancy, and you got to step outside a little bit and say, does this content answer a question, solve a problem, address a concern, provide helpful information? What does this content do? Because most people go on Google to search, again, something that can be useful, a question that they're trying to answer. Or maybe they're trying to find some quick tips and tricks or something like that, right? So if you produce content that your user can use, then I think that's going to give you a leg up in terms of, just getting there at the beginning, right? And from the get-go. And then the other thing that you need to do is you need to do as much on-page SEO as your CMS will allow. Don't give up, right? Optimize your title tags. Meaning, look at the title tag, make sure the title tag is relevant to your content, make sure your meta description is relevant to your content and what you're trying to get ranked for, make sure your keywords are in there. Maybe you need to read a little bit about the ideal length of title tags, the ideal length of meta descriptions, the keyword density that Google likes on these things. And then just do that. Basically, do the work that some of these plugins that SEO that is built into the plugins that you can install on WordPress can do. You just have to do it manually. Check the headings. Make sure that your content is organized. H1 tag, H2 tag, headings, bullets, just basic organization stuff, right? And then pay attention to your URL structure, Make sure that it's not just numbers and strings of characters or anything like that, and that it makes sense when somebody looks at it, or if Google is about to crawl it. So do that. And then the image alt tag, see if you can add some of that in there. And then once you've done writing your content, just do a quick check on your keyword usage. Is it on the first paragraph? Can you use it in the first page? Sorry, the first sentence. Can you use it in the H1 tag? Don't make it awkwardly reading, but don't make it awkward to read. Sorry, that was a bad phrasing, but don't make it awkward to read. But definitely check to see where they are and things like that. And that'll definitely give you a good idea of whether or not your SEO, your on-page optimization is good or not. So again, just because you're not using WordPress doesn't mean you're not going to rank. And just because you're using WordPress doesn't mean you're going to rank. So if you're not using WordPress or any of those CMSs that I mentioned earlier, don't panic. Focus on quality content. Do, aggressive SEO optimization, on-page optimizations. And I think at that point, that's pretty much it, man. I don't know what else you could do. Maybe, start planning to switch to WordPress. Haha. Anyway, that's a joke. You don't have to switch to WordPress. This is by no means an ad for WordPress. But anyway, so that's today's topic. I think, like I said, it's about love. We're talking about love, SEO love. So in today's topic, in today's episode, we learned about, we learned the reasons why Google adores WordPress when it comes to SEO. And then also, what are some other CMSs that seem to fare well when it comes to SEO? And then we also talked about what to do if you don't use WordPress and basically, continue to do SEO well, even though you're not at WordPress. So that about covers today's topic. It's been a pleasure to go over this with you. If you have any feedback, any things that you'd like to add, I'm all ears. Go ahead and send me your feedback. Otherwise, happy SEOing and happy WordPressing and happy marketing to you today.
If you're a small business owner, a marketing manager at a company, or an entrepreneur, please tune in weekly. You'll gain some insights, tips, and tricks, and be a bit more enlightened when it comes to digital marketing. I promise you, if you implement the strategies, tactics, and tools I discuss in this podcast, your business will definitely grow. Please subscribe to this podcast. You can do so by going to corneryourmarketpodcast.com and subscribe with the listening platform of your choice. That URL again is corneryourmarketpodcast.com. Don't forget to like and share this episode with your friends and colleagues. Also, don't forget to leave a review. Those mean a lot to me and can help others that would benefit from the information I share. Finally, I would love to hear from you. I love getting listener emails. So if you have questions, feedback, or any general comment about the topics I discuss on this podcast, feel free to send me an email. I will be sure to share and discuss your feedback on the air if it will benefit our listening audience. You can write to me at connect@corneryourmarketpodcast.com. Just put listener comment in the subject line. That email again is connect@corneryourmarketpodcast.com. And again, please put listener comment in the subject line. Thanks for listening today. I look forward to being back next week. Until then, be good and do good.